Welcome, everyone. You're listening to How We Heal the podcast. I'm Kir Noel, medical intuitive, your host. Our sponsor is the medicinebuddhawithin.com, intuitive training for all. Check out their website and be registered to be invited to all the upcoming trainings. Now let's begin our show. Welcome to How We Heal the podcast. I'm Kir Noel. Today we have Jesse Scherer, who is, I'd call her a local legend. I have to say, I think she's a local legend that I'm becoming really aware of. Somebody who does a lot of advocacy that we all need. She is licensed massage therapist who is extraordinary at Catskill Mountain Massage Therapy and very much has a voice and is involved in O Positive. She's the direct. Now, can you tell us, Jessie, the way to say the new title of your festival clinical?
Yeah, it's just that now I'm just sticking with the festival. So I coordinate the clinic at the festival itself because now O Positive has become year round. So I stick with the festival itself in October.
Great. Okay, so she had just told me before the show that that's a new title. And you also host the O Positive Radio Hour on Radio Kingston. She's an advocate for animal rights, human rights, our rights, and has been, I think, a standard of the truth for what we all are trying to kind of evolve into in the world today. So I'm so grateful to her to do this early morning taping with me, as we're both not early morning people. So you'll forgive us if we're a little bit reserved. Welcome, Jessie. Tell us how you got to be who you are in the world.
Wow, well, that's a big story. Welcome. Yeah, thank you. It is early, so I'm a little, I'm not always on the ball there. I mean, I guess I'd say one of my core doing massage, it has gotten me to be deeply immersed in the community. There's so many ways that you connect with people, that I connect with people through that I think my ability to be with people and all the years, I mean, I'm sure you can relate, all the years of being in the massage room, being at the table, listening to like a certain type of music, honing in on people's bodies, over 25 years, that gives you some kind of like skills and superpowers, if only because you're honing into the universe as you're doing that. I mean, think about all the jobs that people do. And I think one of the strongest ways that even young people could think about going for a career is like, I'm going to be doing this all day long, or as much as I do it as a job. And where is it going to bring me at the end of the day? What have I done? So, I mean, I know that sounds a little judgy in some ways, but I guess I would say that for me, doing that has really connected me to the universe. And so I think one of my ways that I've become who I am is really connecting, to the universe. And I think that it has so much to tell us. There's so much that we can be informed by. I would say that's one of my big ways of becoming who I am.
Well, it sounds like you've found you're in touch with the pulse, like the blood, the pulse of the person, which is, of course, reflects the pulse of all of us.
True.
How did you find massage therapy when you were younger?
Well, that's interesting. My family and I, we would go on road trips, and my dad and mom would drive, but often my dad was driving and there was me and my two sisters in the back seat. And, we'd go to Florida, which is a pretty long drive, and we'd be like all losing faith.
A big one.
That we are going to get there. I'd be like, I'm losing faith. We're not going to get there. And they would make fun of me. I was little, but I loved to massage my dad's shoulders when he was driving. And I noticed like how much relief it gave him. Like he would be like, and I idolized my dad who passed away very early. He was 47 when he died. I was 14. So you could see how that became sort of a important aspect of my life looking back. So I would massage him and it brought him so much relief. It made me feel great because he was like my, hero, and he was loving what I was doing. And I kind of thought I was a boy when I was younger. So It was like me and him and being in the car and giving him relief. So I kind of knew that I had an ability to bring someone relief, someone that I really cared about. I think it started there. As I get older, I was, in college, I would massage people. So, and I was very interested. I couldn't believe that they liked it so much. I didn't even understand, what's the big deal. Because it came so natural to me. Oh, and on a funny aside is my sister had very strong hands, and when we fight, she'd give me like the death claw grip. And so I learned these like other points. She wasn't a massage therapist, but she was very in tune, but she didn't use it in the way I used it. So when
No, she weaponized it.
yeah, but I kind of got the feel, and I don't even think she went to bad spots. I think she went to like good spots, but she like really pinned me, and so I kind of got a feeling for that. And then that's just a funny aside. But I had a girlfriend in college who was going to massage school in Florida, and she's like, "You should come. Let's just visit it." So we visited a friend of ours who was down there, and I went down to Gainesville, and I loved it. The school was amazing. It was outside. There's a lot of like hydrotherapy, very groovy. Did a lot of Gestalt work, and I was like, "This is amazing.
Fabulous.
I'm gonna come here." So I ended up going with the girlfriend that I was with at the time down there, and moved down to Gainesville. Met just a really cool group of people. Just a very nice vibe. It was nice weather out, so we were always outside. So that was my first foray into massage school. I loved it. I recommend massage school to anyone, even if you don't want to go become a massage
Yeah, and
therapist.
then but this place you have now, Catskill Mountain Massage Therapy, is that recent or have you had it for a while?
I've had that for about 25 years.
A long time.
A long time. Yeah, I went to school in the 90s. And then when I came back up here, I had to go to school again because New York has a very much higher hourly. You have to have more hours to get your license. So I went back to school in Albany. So that's where I got very trained in so many things. That's why if you'll notice, if you see my website, I like I'm tr- I'm trained in a lot of modalities because I had to go back and
Yeah, you are. And I also saw you do house calls.
yeah. Um
Right. Wow.
I mean, I not for everybody. If somebody's very sick or, I charge a good amount, so it makes sense. Like today
Mhm.
today I'm going to a house call, two house calls, but I don't do it very often. I love mixing it up, you know? I'm somebody who needs to do different things or else I get really stagnant. So I find with massage and the other work I do, I'm able to like be in different places, do it in different ways. That keeps me very occupied.
Nice, nice. And you have a dog in your home?
But
Your new
yeah.
your
She's not over
baby?
here. Yeah, she's my baby. My girlfriend and I, Ella, we got her after my dog, who was a very spiritual, like a familiar to me for many years. She died, and the only way
Oh,
I could, like, I couldn't stop grieving. I was just really, really depressed, and the only way was to like start looking on Pet Finder. So I started looking. The, it's an adoption.
yeah.
You know what that is?
Yeah, I know it.
Yeah. So there'd be all these like it's so cute. They have all these dogs like they had all the princesses. So there's Meghan, Elizabeth, or like they had all the royalty. And that's how they named the puppies, or Fonzie, and then, Ron Howard. So every day I'd be like, oh, I love little Fonzie. Oh, little Henry. So finally we found Oshi and went to pick her up. And yeah, she's amazing. She's a really great dog.
Fabulous.
Love her.
So tell me, so Jesse, now that I know you had, excuse me, I'll cut that. Two siblings. Where
Gross.
are you on the chain of siblings? Where are you? The middle?
I'm the
Where are
youngest.
you?
I'm the
Youngest.
youngest.
Okay, great. So we can identify
Yeah.
with that, maybe some of us. So
Are
how
you
did you
the
get involved
youngest?
with O positive?
Are
I'm
you the
sorry?
youngest too?
No, middle.
Oh, okay.
Middle. Yeah,
Well, O
I'm the
positive.
balancing act.
Yeah, right. It's true. So probably, I guess it was like, what year was it? In 2009, whenever. O Positive began. I saw a little sign um in a store. It was like sort of like, 3 inches by like 2 inches, very little piece of paper. And it said, do you like music? Are you a healer? Blah, blah, blah. All these keywords. And I was like, that sounds great. We're looking to start a festival and help people who don't have insurance. I don't think at that point I heard the exchange the art of medicine for the medicine of art, which I think is a brilliant.
Yeah, that's great.
Brilliant. So I showed up with my massage table and I went into an empty, at that point it was probably in an empty storefront on Wall Street, and I set up. It wasn't very organized right yet that year, but I showed up. Next year it got a little more organized. It was in the bottom of Kirkland House in Kingston. It's like a Rupco building, and there was a bunch of massage therapists, a bunch of healers, a bunch of people, and we just sat there and just started doing it in this fast pace that felt really good, meeting people. And then over time, I just became more and more involved, and to the point where, I'm directing the festival clinic, getting the providers. So it starts in about now, almost reaching out to providers and getting them into the whole idea of setting up at the Old Dutch Church and doing this work, which is amazing.
I went to it the last festival, and you even have a storefront, don't you now, on
Well,
Wall
yeah.
Street?
Oh, Positive, yes. There's a storefront on the corner of North Front and Wall. Yeah.
Right, and they do art displays, and they just tell you what the service. So these are services for people in our community who don't have access otherwise. These are like people come, they give free service, they help. Is that
Well,
kind of the point?
more exchanging exchanging the art of medicine for the medicine of art. So it's usually performers. It's to give insurance to musicians, artists who are not covered. So in the storefront, what happens is there's people. The windows happen to be really big. It's a great storefront. So you can have performer art in the windows. There's a little space. There's shows now going on, I think, weekly. And then there's a doctor who will be in the back at times. And ultimately, we're going to be able to give, all types of medical assistance to the performers and the artists. So that's the idea. It's not just for anybody. It's specialized for at some point it might be for community, but right now it's for artists and musicians.
For artists and performers, yeah. But that's such a medically
Amazing.
challenged community. Yeah.
God, yeah. I mean, the amount of people who had come in who never got seen by anybody, somebody's life was saved actually because they didn't even know they had like hepatitis. There's lots of cool stories about people who had not seen a doctor. I mean, that goes for many of us. Many people don't ever see a doctor and then they get to see a doctor. So I've been involved with a lot of free clinics. Healthcare is human right is a very
Love that.
yeah, it's a great one that's been around forever. And out of that one came the holistic health community, which is very big in the area. So they grew out of each other, and I was a big part of both of those. Right now I'm not doing them, but there's something about appearing when people need you that just I think is really beautiful and necessary. Not everybody does it. At first I'm very good at appearing when needed. It's harder to stay. The infrastructure isn't always there for myself or anybody if you're that kind of person.
I get it.
So being part of that, it started, what was that first hurricane storm, Sandy? That's the first time I actually saw something up here happening that I wanted to do, which was like a free clinic. So we set up in Phoenicia, right where all the storms had hit. And I couldn't believe it. To look around in a big gymnasium and see like all these healers with their tables giving, their healing away felt so powerful and so rich, and it just made me feel full. At the time I really needed to experience that and give in that way. I have a lot to give, so I think that's one of the things that makes me special is I
Well, it
just
sounds like you
need to give.
recognize you have something to contribute, and you found a way to contribute it, which is
Yeah.
the point, I think, of my creating the platform we're on. It's just every one of us has this like special thing we can do, and
Yeah.
you're doing it. It's
Yeah.
beautiful.
Yeah, I feel lucky like that.
So what do you besides I mean, you're doing so much in the community and how did you get involved in Radio
Kingston?
Kingston?
That's okay. How did I get involved? Well, it was through O Positive, actually. I got asked to do a wellness show before COVID, and I really liked it. I found that it was nerve-wracking enough to keep me excited, but very comfortable, Like, it keeps you on your toes, chasing after the
Right.
person, doing it, being on the radio itself, because it puts you in a certain position that you're not in all day. So I loved that about it. I kept doing it. And then as I got more of a position with O Positive, I got asked to do a monthly show. And that was great. I'm still doing it, but Radio Kingston's going through some changes. So we're not going to have these shows the same way.
Oh, I didn't know. I'm sorry to hear that.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, there'll still be shows on the weekend and there'll be featured guests, but right now they're changing it so that it's and they'll still do podcasts, in case you didn't know that. But it's changing so that there'll be like more of a formatted weekly show, daily show with news and a little more informative for the community at large to know what's going on in the world and in the community daily instead of the shows
Well,
when
that sounds good, but will your show still be there? Do you know?
no. But
No, you didn't make
but
it.
I think there'll be a place for me if I want to continue doing the show. Not this show, a different show maybe. Hopefully.
Oh, yeah, a different show. Well, that the whole platform of radio is evolving so quickly right now.
Yeah, and it's also like life is temporary. It's good for me to practice having situations that aren't that I'm not that attached to let go of.
That sounds very Buddhist of you.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, but it's true because we all have our stuff. Like I have, losing my father so early, I definitely have like issues with if something feels really good, uh, having it go. And that came up with the show, but I was like, wow, that's okay. You
Hmm.
just let it disappear and something else will come in its place. You know how that is.
Well, it sounds like you're very aware of something in you that's very profound and deep that comes up for you when you have triggers in life.
Exactly.
So I want to dive into the idea for a moment that you are aware of and utilizes. Things are temporary anyway. Things are changing all the time. And it felt to me when you were sharing that it's like you easily can let go. You almost enjoy the flow. Well,
Well,
of letting go of the show or letting go of, you said I can show up for people, but and
yeah,
staying is another matter. I think we all suffer that concept.
yeah, as humans,
Yeah, it's sort of like we can do it, one off or 3 times a week for a month, but then
yeah.
you wanna know me longer? Why?
think I think once you have faith in the fact that, I don't mean like religious faith. I mean like you have like an understanding with the universe. And I've said the universe a lot in this, and what I mean more is just like there are natural laws that happen when you open up. It's been proven to me. I can't speak for everyone else, but if you open up and you have a clear idea and emotional excitement around certain things, then I think they do come to you. And I've seen that enough to know that if I can let go of a situation that I'm doing, because I do have an attachment to the the radio show in the way that
Yeah,
it
who wouldn't? It sounds
right.
exciting.
It is
Yeah.
exciting, and the way that it does that thing where it's, scary enough. I think it's good to challenge yourself every day. So it's like challenging enough, let's say, not scary. So, but I know there'll be more of those situations because my being is into that. It's into that, and I think I will get into that again. So, I think that faith is really part of moving towards your truth in life. You have to believe so many people are victims, right? I think a lot of people have a victim
Oh,
energy.
yeah, very much so.
And I think that is like a wall. Like that's just a wall getting in your way of doing the things you want or doing the things that you're meant to do.
Yeah. Well, you're speaking my language. I mean,
Oh, good.
my yeah, my work life is teaching people to kind of let go of the layers of blockages of lies we hold on to that prevent us from being who we are and
Oh, wow.
finding your note and being who
Yeah.
you are. And it means you're kind of drawn to things regularly that reflect who you really are. So what you're sharing exactly what I believe, which is we're not going to find the things in life that are meant for us until we let go of what isn't.
Did you
The
say
truth
find your
is the
note?
truth is there.
Did you say find your note?
Yeah, note.
Oh, I love
Yeah,
that.
like
Yeah.
yeah, a note. Well, I think of it, you can look that up on my website,
No, I love that.
howweheal.site, where I have monthly intuitive trainings, how to activate that magnetic field inside of us that realigns us with ourselves. But that's just my other part of me.
Well, that's important. I mean, these podcasts, I believe the success will be because you're an interesting person. You interweave your beautiful ideas with the other person. I think that's what we're creating all the time is conversations. So
Yep,
I like the note thing.
co-creating.
Yeah, co-creating. I like the note because I think, as a younger person, when I was like kind of like marching into my spirituality in a different way, I always felt like that chorus, this kind of corny, but like nobody has a bad note. Once you find what your true note is, it's like you express that, and then it's like it's a chorus of everybody's truth. It's like only when you just are not embodying that true note, as you say, that there's like the challenge to find it, which is beautiful too. But
Hmm,
then there's
I
like
don't
the
know that struggle.
coverings.
Yeah,
Then there's the coverings that people do, which get in the way of trying to find of getting it. So
right. And I think it's what you're also reflecting back to me and what others might relate to is you're going to have a lot of beginnings and ends in life are for me have become very constant because I have my one path. I don't
mm,
have 10
mm,
paths. I don't have, let's figure Kir out.
yeah,
I'm in my late 60s. I think I figured it out.
yeah,
It's just like, this is who I am. And
right,
with many faults, of course, but certainly always growing. And that in that always growing place, you're always kind of opening your note further, broadening
mm,
its path, broadening the sound vibration.
mm,
And I think when you do great massage, you're aligning with your note.
yeah,
You're aligning that.
yeah. I mean, that's one amazing thing because for a little while I was like, I'm hitting 60, and I'm like, I love doing massage. I notice
Welcome to the other side.
my hands, right? My hands are like a little not a little, they're very numb in the morning. As I massage, they feel better, which is amazing. So, what am I going to do? So really fishing out there in the universe to see what else I want to do. And so I went through this, pretty like a year, and I'm still going through it, kind of trying to track different things. What is it else I want to do? But so often it just comes back to God, massage just feels right. It's flexible. People love it. I don't, whenever it sounds crazy, but whenever I try to, no, this isn't really true. I guess what I want to come back to is being in control of my own universe, of my own world, of my own job is it's come so easy because it's me doing what I'm doing. And when I contribute to things, it's also amazing. It is hard collaborating sometimes with organizations, institutions, other people. That's the work of this life. We see it reflected in the world outside of our little life here in Ulster County. That's the work, I guess, is to try and figure out collaboration. That's my work a little bit.
That is my work. That's as well my challenge. I love, love, love my work. I love being sole proprietor. I can work anywhere in the world, which if you're doing your work, you can go anywhere in the world. That I feel like
Yeah,
it's
that's
portable
true.
because it's just me. Like it's
Right.
portable.
Right. Well, you're
And
really
then how do you
portable.
become right? And how do you interact in community or with even with another? How do you
Yeah.
bring your note and not, I mean, my drive in life, which is very difficult as we get older, I think, is to realize that nothing should diminish my note. Nothing
Yes.
should, and nothing should say, you can't do that now, slow it down. I can't.
Mm,
That's, that's, that would be unfortunate for me because I see the growth potential and I love I love the growth. I love
Yeah.
the moment when you say, "Oh, that idea I'm holding on to is not true anymore. So I'm letting go of
Right.
it."
That's
I
amazing.
love those moments, and I have a lot of that in me because of my disturbed childhood experiences.
Well,
I
don't you
have a
think
lot.
at a certain age, I think a person um ought to be able to live life like that. That's sort of what you work towards in peace and for the good of all. And also just like we are, you do fine tune your path or know who you are. Because I have a habit of like either being softening my note when I'm working in an organization or something, and then being mad, that I soften my note
Mm.
and having a wall. So that's not a very good. That's not. And then what I practice is just witnessing for a while. But then I'm like, wait, if I'm just being this like passive witness, then I'm not not contributing because I'm just sort of trying to watch for the triggers and then stay quiet. But that gets in the way of contributing, right?
Yeah, to some degree, it sounds like it would, but maybe there's times to step back and kind of comfort your wounds before
Yeah.
you step back in.
Yeah.
Because I have to acknowledge my limitations and unfortunately continually realize that they are always there. I wish they weren't, but I keep learning they are.
I mean, you mean emotional limitations or physical or
Yeah, emotional limitations.
yeah. I mean,
Very strong, yeah, very strong affinity for a certain path and a certain type of people that don't judge. I have a strong
mm,
desire to be around people who don't
that
judge.
makes sense
And yeah, they're like little diamonds in the rough in our
for
world.
sure.
They're the
Yeah.
diamonds, and I want those diamonds.
Yeah. That's beautiful. That's great. I was listening to this really great podcast actually. What was his name? It was a conversation, but it was just all about like the planetary movements that are happening now. And like, he was sort of like a scientist, but it was I haven't immersed myself in that in a while. Because, there was a time like in the 90s where I was really like uncovering the whole like Pleiades, the Arcturian, all that. It brought me a lot of hope in a time where I needed to feel like there was something other than this planet. But as it got more popular in a way, even and as I just had sort of filled myself up with all of this information, it started becoming more out there and it turned me off a little bit. Everybody and their mother was sort of like getting into it. So I haven't really dipped into it. But a friend sent it to me that I haven't seen in a while. She said, I felt the need to send this to you. And I listened yesterday and it was so good for me. It just like really gave me a lot of positive energy and hope. I'm trying to remember his name. Are you into those kinds of things at all?
Yes,
Oh,
absolutely.
you are?
Well,
Good, good.
yes, I haven't had a direct contact with those
Yeah,
elements of
me neither.
higher intelligence, which I know are definitely exist. I just haven't had direct contact, but I've had two of my guests on my podcast have, and they talked about it. And one of them writes a lot of books about it. Her name is Betsy Lewis. But I find it, of course, there are more intelligent beings out there. Of
Oh my
course, there's
God.
a
Yeah,
wider place of huge, I think what we think of the world fits in a shoebox on a shelf.
I
All the
agree.
planets we've identified, that's all we can
On the
see.
shelf of like an infinite mansion of rooms, right? I think it's like there's like so much out there. So this guy's name is David Clemens. Have you heard of him?
No, I'm gonna check it out. Yeah,
It's
David
called New
Clemens.
Paradigm
Okay.
of Living Membranes. So what he talks about, which is very cool, it took me a while to understand it, but that there's all these membranes inside all the planets, and the edges of the membranes and it's a very hard thing to grasp because it's so different than the way we're taught things. And I haven't even heard this in all the understandings of like the different dimensions. But somehow right now they're opening up so that the membranes in between the different galaxies and planets are speaking to each other, are speaking to the membranes in this planet. There's just a lot of new information coming down. I wouldn't start to talk about it here now, really, at 9 o'clock in the morning.
Well, we should all check it out. I wanna say that if you think about it's very visible that there's a lot of negative very greedy, angry people trying to blow it all up. And I often feel, I mean, people are very afraid, and I'm like, I'm not feeling the fear, and I'm kind of like, is it because something bigger is kind of holding us in a space of connection and protection, so that like I feel like we're very much energetically connecting very deeply as beings, and
Yeah.
now the disturbed beings are kind of risen to the top and become this giant voice that
Yeah.
they need for their fragile egos, and the
Yeah.
rest of us, I think, are really connecting to each other.
Yeah.
You know,
I
I find that, yeah,
agree, and it's hard because what this program was inspiring me was like, yeah, it's like it's sort of when you put, clear water, right, in a cup that has mud in the bottom, the mud is going to come to the top. So as terrible as it is, and I am getting caught in the drama of the situations that people are dying, and
yeah,
there's
yeah.
so
A
much
lot of people are
energy
dying.
that's happening at the same time. What they were saying on the program is that this is happening to sort of cleanse. Like, it's pretty clear who's who and what's what when you have things like the situations that are going on with video, that you can clearly see things, somebody getting shot, so in a way it's like it's this long, drawn out, hard time on this planet that ultimately is going to release what needs to be released so that people can connect more. And I don't know whether that's a way of saying I don't need to do anything because it's all going to happen and it's all going to be taken care of, or if it's true all the time. I get
Well, I,
confused.
I think what I for myself, I've looked at what can I do as my voice inside of my mind. What can I do? And so I started the podcast. I started training intuitive. I do intuitive training online for anyone who wants it. If you can't afford it, please go to howweheal.site. I don't tell anyone this on the podcast. You're the first one I'm saying it with, because it's available to help you transform, and I will give it to you for free if you can't afford the $25 a month.
Awesome.
And because it's available, I want people to get clear. And the
Yeah.
other thing I feel like I can do is I can in my own spiritual practice, I do like hours, and I love what I do. I do this whole like pray to save the world, kind of connect all energy that flows throughout space, unknown and known, and
Yeah.
all realms that I'm not familiar. Please bring it now. And that's my
That's
weekly
awesome.
practice, because
Yeah.
I'm my hands are tied about what's going on in
Right.
governments, or horrible
If you
things that
didn't
are going
have
on.
media, you'd only choose how your life seems by looking out your window or looking next to you, or, seeing what your life is like. And my life, feels really good. And if I didn't have, the media, so I play with that idea too. Like, how much am I supposed to know?
Me too. That's a hard one.
Yeah, it's a hard one. It's a very hard one. But I, like you, also during my days of massage, that's what I'm doing. Unless I'm involved in some people get me to talk because they're just really interesting and they talk to me while I'm massaging. But generally, I like to be quiet. And I listen to the binaural beats a lot in the past like 3 years. And that's great. And I think to myself, like, wow, I'm like here sort of like praying, listening to the binaural beats and the planetary, what's that one? The planetary sounds. I just love those. And I think all those things are helping ground the energy. So thankfully there's enough of us doing that. And I might not be doing that if I didn't do massage. I might be like getting in little fights with people all day. So I think it's
Right?
really
I
good. Yeah.
agree.
So I think it's really
Well,
great.
well, you're bringing your healer. You're bringing the healer. Like, you found out that you're a healer.
Yeah.
You're not, and you're not masking it anymore. And by the way, anyone who's listening who has any healing skills, step into it. It's okay.
Yeah.
You have a job at the bank, but you can heal people. Go ahead and heal them while you're at the bank, and let it transform. Eventually, it'll be what it needs to be. And it has nothing
Totally.
to do with, it's kind of like there's an organization to this. I call it the individual note, but there's an entirety of vibration of hope that permeates all of living matter.
Mm,
And that's why it's still alive. I mean, it's very basic.
yeah.
That organized flow of energy that we all depend on
Right.
or we interdependently rely upon is always underneath the surface of the fear mongering that's going on.
So exciting to know that Reiki's something that has helped people tap in. People that wouldn't do it. I think the more accessible you make the first step for people, that's the gift. And I think that that's beautiful about Reiki. There's a sense it's more accessible than other things, which is what it's so ironic that a doctor has to go to school for so long. Rightly so, of course. But it's just like we need more people who are connecting to that field, and we need people who want to heal. And so let's make it as accessible as possible because we all have that note, like you're saying, that can connect in, and then you learn more notes. So that's hopeful.
Yeah.
That's very hopeful.
Well, and I think it's a very hopeful and hazardous time altogether. So we're still on that seesaw, but hope is on, my seesaw. Hope and hazardous.
Yeah.
Well, I'm sort of like, it's stable. Is it
Yeah.
stable? I feel the stability, even though there's so much instability. So how do
Right.
people find you, Jessie? Because I'm certainly going to keep your number and come to have a
Awesome.
massage.
I hope you do.
I
Well,
will.
best way, I love text. I don't know if it's safe to put my number out here, but so 914.
I have my number everywhere.
Okay, great.
I'm of the voice that it's okay.
Okay, 914-466-1517. Definitely text. I do not answer the phone very often, except for my mother, and she passed away last year, so I pretty much don't. And it's www.catskillmountainmassage.com. And, I'm a big Facebook person. I think it's great. I love Facebook, so I'm there under my name. I do a bunch of other stuff, but that's where you can find me or walking
Great.
down the block near my office.
On 292 Fair Street, right?
Yeah,
Room
290
10?
Fair Street. It's above Petalose or Le Shag. That's where I see people.
All right. Well, don't just jump in. Text her first because she's probably got a
might not be
client.
available. But yeah, that would be
Yeah, we want to see your dog. What is your dog's name?
Oshi.
Oh, how
Ocean.
beautiful.
Say hi.
Hi. Hi, sweetie.
She just woke
She's
up.
beautiful.
Just woke up.
I saw her on your Facebook. I saw her neck.
Really? I just took a
You have
picture of
a
her
photo
neck.
with just her neck,
That's
like the
weird.
chest area.
Well, I do like her chest, but that's
It's
weird.
unusual, but I thought, is it a cat or a dog on Facebook? But now I
Oh my
know.
God, that's
she's
interesting.
beautiful.
Oh, I have to
Yeah,
check
she's
that out.
beautiful.
Well, Kir, I really love talking to you, and I'd love to, come in again to you. That was really interesting. You do some really cool work.
Thank you. Anytime I'm available, 100%. And yeah, people can please do not walk, run, get on Jesse's radar because Jessie can activate that note in you, in my opinion. From the short conversation we just had, Jessie, you helped me kind of find my own alignment again and reconnect. And it's so rare to find someone who can do that, I want to say, because I've had the privilege of some amazing people help me heal. And I have them, maybe there are 3 of them I can name them on 3 of them in my lifetime who I count on. And I will now add you to number 4 to bring that alignment to me. You brought the alignment. I'm going to come to you for my next massage because I want more.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
You're welcome. And I hope we definitely see each other in town and at music events.
Me
And
too. I'd love that.
At O Positive.
Yeah.
All right. Looking forward to it. Well, thank you so much for joining me today.
Of course. Thank you for asking. I'm really excited about it.
Thank you.
Okay.
All right. We're going to wrap up, everyone. And don't forget to look up the amazing Jesse Scherer and get yourself on her radar. Okay.
And find your note.
Right. And find your note. We want to thank the following people. Jennifer Maidman for original music. Listen to her on iTunes and Spotify. True English of Upstate Podcast Studio for sound and recording engineering. And all our executive producers. See you next time.